body, it's the facts we bring, yeah. Whoa, yeah. Whoa, uncle's ting, tis an uncle's ting. Pull up on the body, it's the facts we bring, yeah. Whoa, yeah. Whoa.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Uncles episode 89. This week I've got a very special guest. I'm gonna give him a little bit of an introduction, so buckle up guys. This one's gonna be a really good episode, but everyone, I'm sure you would know this guy. Meet Vallé. His full name is Tali Enjalas Jenkinson, a Papua New Guinea-born Christchurch-raised artist making waves in Aotearoa's music scene, blending R&B, hip-hop, and pop with heartfelt storytelling. Vallé's music is both deeply personal and universally resonant. His 2018 debut single, Love Me, introduces raw talent and emotional depth to the world. Since then, he has released the mixtape Care For Me in 2020, featuring the single Star, which debuted on New Zealand's official charts. His latest single, Not For Sale, marks his return after a brief hiatus following his 2022 EP, Caged Birds. Now, Vallé's artistry is deeply influenced by his heritage and his experiences after moving to New Zealand as an infant to receive treatment for malaria. He was raised in Christchurch by his British father. His music draws from a diverse range of influences, including Van Morrison, Bob Marley, and Eminem, reflecting his rich cultural background and personal journey. Beyond music, Vallé is also a barber. Damn, we need those fresh cuts then, bro. But balancing his creative pursuits with his entrepreneurial endeavors. So, guys, I'm really excited. This episode, we're going to be talking about Vallé's journey from Port Moresby to Christchurch, his musical evolution, and his commitment to representing the Pacific culture through his art. Everyone, welcome, Vallé. Bro, how are you?
Man, what a intense introduction. Thank you so much. I'm good and I'm happy to be here. So thank you for making time.
Oh man, that's awesome. I'm really appreciative of your time as well. And it's so funny because I was looking through, your YouTube, and I was actually a young boy in university when I was coming up here in Brisbane, and you put out the song TripAdvisor, and bro, I went crazy over here. Like all of us PNG boys, we were talking about it at uni. We were like, holy shit, like who is this guy? Who is this guy? What is he doing? Like the whole video clip just summed up, our childhood, our experiences growing up back home in PNG. And you just really sort of depicted that in that one video clip. So it's crazy to see that. It's crazy for me to, look back then and I watched that video to now we're here talking to you. But we'll get into it. I think the first question, what we always do on the Uncles is we always ask the guests what their word of the week is. And it might be a word that you felt in the last week. So, bro, what's your word of the week?
Well, first of all, I really appreciate you sharing that memory about you in university. We make sure we come back to that because that's really cool. It's a
Yeah.
special memory. My word of the week, can you graciously allow me to cheat and have two very short words?
Bro, 100%, 100%.
The word of the week for me probably would be hold on. Like I think maybe even the word of the month. Definitely this week, but this month I felt like there's been so much going on, so many intense family reunion moments, family health scare moments, ups and downs. Like it's just been everything all at once. And then at the same time releasing the Hold Me project, like the video, the exhibition, and the single, and like all the family things kind of encircling that release kind of took me away from being able to put the release as a priority. And so it's just, and that's just life. Like all of us have that with different things. But yeah, so the word of the week has been just hold on, just hang in there.
That's an amazing word of the week. And I think Thank you for sharing that, being honest and open with us there about what you're going through at the moment. But I think, yeah, it actually ties into, yeah, as you said, one of your recent singles, which is Hold Me, so hold on. I think it definitely relates to that as well.
Yeah, honestly, I didn't even make that connection, but yeah, that's honestly what I've been telling myself this week is just like, because often you don't have the answers immediately, and when things are so intense, you usually can't process them in real time.
Mm.
You need like some sort of cool down period after, and so yeah, yeah, just hang in there.
Nice, bro. Nice, bro. We'll get into it. We usually start off with, take us back to where it all began. Where was Vallé? Where were you born and raised?
I was born in Port Moresby in '97, and then I got sick, as you mentioned, in the intro, got malaria, and then came to Christchurch. And that in and of itself was quite complicated because mum and dad they'd already split up, they'd already divorced prior to having me. I got an older sister, and they basically established almost immediately the relationship wasn't going to work. She went back to Moresby. Dad stayed here in Christchurch. Excuse me. And then yeah, I got unwell and things changed, and then they brought me back with mum, and then we um we moved to Wellington, did school in Wellington, which is, for those who don't know, it's the capital city of New Zealand. And then once I'd finished school, I'd always wanted to come back to Christchurch. Um, Mum and my grandparents, like first and foremost, my grandparents were here on my dad's side, and I loved them and was really close to them, and they were like hugely instrumental in raising us and helping us out in hard times. And so I'd always had it in my heart that I wanted to come back and spend, the sort of twilight years of their life with them. And so I did that, and then fell into barbering, and then barbering kind of fell back into music. And yeah, to cut a long story short, kind of that all led to being here where I am now.
Yeah, that's no that's perfect. And look, we always go back to, I guess, the early days of your childhood, and obviously that would have been in Christchurch. Like, the talk us through that, because I know we've had other guests on, Papua New Guineans who were born and raised in Australia, and some of them don't know their PNG heritage. Some of them don't know, where they come from, why they look a bit different, and,
Mm,
all of that. So I just want to ask you, growing up, going through your childhood, what was life like? But did you have
mm.
some of those moments as well, being a young boy in New Zealand?
Man, 100%. Like, I think had I have stayed in Christchurch, it may have even been those feelings maybe even worse because like Christchurch in comparison to Wellington, like basically the further north you go in New Zealand, the more brown it gets. Like the further south you go, the whiter it gets. Like, and
Yeah,
that's
wow.
obviously like a sweeping generalization, but everyone will know what I mean when I say that. Like that's
Yeah.
basically how it is. And so, yeah, kind of at least you could say in Wellington, like there were other Pacific Island cultures that were elevated and esteemed and
Mm,
spoken about and platformed. But um, with that being said, 100% there was, those feelings of alienation and being unclear to like truly who am I and where are my roots. And um, I think having this distinguished frizzy hair was such an unpopular it put a target on your head. Like I remember so many times like getting bullied and having hard times, and it was like due to that was kind of like the oh
mm,
and they would call you monkey and stuff like that. And yeah, so that definitely drew some negative attention like that, and then you kind of resented being Papua New Guinean because you weren't established enough to draw upon the goodness of it, and now it was just like this tool that people used against you. And you see what I mean? So it's like
Yeah.
that was a whole other dynamic, and that never really got addressed until basically I became a man and went back home on my own terms in 2019 and reestablished my connections with my family, and then was actually able to see, oh my gosh, this place is beautiful. A lot of my own assumptions of my family, I was able to address those because the divorce with mum and dad was it was so like catastrophic, like it was so violent, it was so uneasy, it was like so damaging to my whole family that I kind of just like shelved everything that was connected to mum and then by extension, Papua New Guinea. And so
Mm.
yeah, like I kind of said earlier, it was just wasn't until 2019 when I went back and I was able to actually find out for myself and make those connections, for myself and on my own.
Yeah, wow, bro, that's amazing. And look, we all know you as this, really talented musician, someone who is doing great things in showcasing your music, but also showcasing Papua New Guinea, which I think the uncles we're most proud about is that, you're someone who's putting us on the map, basically, in your own lane, doing your own thing, but you've always got, PNG represented in your music, in your videos, in everything. Look, we went through the early childhood memories there, but when did this sort of, love for music come about? Was it real early or did it come sort of later on?
I think there's a few answers to that question. I think there's a historical generational component to it, and then I also think there's like a nurture, like the environment that you're raised in is music being played a lot, and in my case, it was. I think music was like a healing tool for dad, and so every day I just remember listening to music super loud, and it was just always it was always present, in the home.
Mm,
Um, and then grandma was a really good pianist, and I would spend time like watching her and listening to her play piano. And then I found out that all my granddad's sisters and his mom were great pianists. So there's like that element which I learned later, and I was like, oh, okay, there's like a theme here.
mm,
Um, and then enjoyed music, and then I kind of got my first, but it wasn't cool. Like mu being musical was actually more on the nerdy side of things,
mm.
and around all the people that I grew up with, like sport was more something that was
Yeah,
more celebrated and positioned you to be like one of the guys, So
yeah.
I kind of pursued that more, and music was like this hidden back burner thing. Until kind of high school, and then I dabbled again. Um, but yeah, I would say kind of music it has always been there, like looming.
Mm. Did
Mm.
what sort of tracks was your old man playing that back in those days?
He's a Bob Marley, like
Oh
he's
yeah.
there's tons and tons of Bob Marley. Like most of my like first time we moved from Christchurch to Wellington, like all of those early memories, I just remember there is always Bob Marley playing in the background, whether it be in
Wow.
the car or in the house, and then a lot of Van Morrison,
Yeah.
a lot of Bob Dylan, um, and then I kind of found my I think my sister too. She helped me find like R&B and
Oof.
as older sisters do. I feel like that's a
Yeah.
happens a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. And after you finish high school, obviously you would have been going through that I'd say tug of war with, I love music. I want to make music, but, people aren't really vibing with it. So did you go straight into it? Did you work a job? Obviously, we spoke about how were a barber for a bit there. What happened straight after school?
Good question. I went straight. I think I literally went straight into barbering. I was cutting hair as a hobby, just like cutting the boys' hair in school. And then someone in my family was like, oh, I think there's a shop that's looking for an apprentice. You should just go. And I was like, oh, you know what? Like, I got nothing to lose. Why
Mm.
not? At that stage, I didn't want to go to uni because I wasn't interested in studying something I wasn't sure about. Like I just the idea of like borrowing money to pursue something that I'm totally not fully invested in just felt unwise at the time, so I didn't. And then I went straight into work. And
Mm.
then it was actually at my workplace that a client came in, and I love telling people this story because you just never know. And then I was cutting his hair, and then at the end, he's a Filipino guy, and he's now like one of my best friends. And he's like, bro, he's like, I heard one of your songs, and I was like, wait, what do you mean? Like, because I wasn't even putting music out like that. I wasn't
What?
mentioning it, didn't talk about it, and like, it was only on SoundCloud, so it was like in an extremely niche sort of like way of putting music out. Anyway, somehow, some way, he found it, and he was like, "I want to record you. I'm trying to be an audio engineer." And I was like, "Oh, crazy!" And I was like, "Man, I haven't thought about music in ages, like literally since school days." Um, Not that I'd consciously given up on it, but it just wasn't in the forefront. Like it wasn't even a factor. Like I probably had not thought about making music until school and until this guy, Loey, shout out to Loey, until he shows up and goes, yo, I want to record you. And I was like, well, you're not going to charge me anything? And he's like, no, man, I just want to do this. I'm trying to pursue this. So like, we're helping each other. And I was like, ah, cool. Like, I'll make music again. And then it kind of started from there. And then, I think we released a couple of songs. The feedback that I received on those kind of gave me a little bit of boost of energy to like, oh, let me, and then kind of just found the hunger and kept chasing it from there.
Yeah, yeah. Is that would you say, because I know, we spoke about the early days of you listening and that was sort of like the history of music, but where did I guess the love come from? Because we always ask, we've had a few rugby league boys on, some of the Kumuls on, and we've asked them, where does the love for rugby league come from? And we had David Mead on, and he said, the love didn't come when he started playing in the NRL. The love actually came when he was in the village and kicking Coke bottles around with his cousins and going to the TV at the canteen and watching NRL on the screen. Like that's where the love came from. So like where's the love for music come from for you?
That's a really great question. Um, I think for me, it started when I was in primary school. The New Zealand Police Force, they were doing an anti-methamphetamine campaign, and they were going around
Mm.
to all the primary and intermediates, and um, they were using this guy's poem, and he was an ex-addict who had recovered, gone through rehabilitation, and he wrote a poem about methamphetamine as if methamphetamine was a person, and it was like it was really it was haunting,
Yeah.
and it obviously had its effect because I haven't touched meth to this day.
Yeah.
Um, but I think just the way that I'd never seen it like that. Like I'd never, obviously, I'm sure people have done it, and I'm confident people have done that before. But yeah, taking this drug and kind of personifying it and speaking about it like it was this person that he'd overcome, and it was so impactful to me. I remember in my AB4, whatever the red refill books are, I remember taking it with a glue stick, sticking that poem in, and then copying it just to like allow it to sort of sink into me more, and then restructuring like the phrasing and the words because I was just honestly I was just so inspired and blown away and impacted by this guy's ability to storytell and to communicate. And I
Wow.
think that was the true fundamental love. Like music is almost the vehicle for me, but
Mm.
I love telling stories, and I love being impacted by stories. And so I think therefore it's almost like the love started from being a fan of, I guess it's poetry, and then the extension of that is music, and then the extension of that is like the music accompanied by visuals, and then it's almost just like the the scope in which you have the tools to tell stories gets bigger and bigger, the more you sort of sharpen those tools and extend that net a little bit. And yeah, I honestly think that was like a turning point or a catalyst or whatever was that that the NZ Police Force, that campaign that they ran, and that poem getting into my hands. It was like I never like I fell in love with writing from there. So I was
Yeah,
actually
okay.
writing poetry first, before like the music came along. So yeah, it was I would say there. And I loved it. I loved words. I loved communicating. Um and I think it started there.
Wow. That's amazing.
Mm,
That's really deep. I love that story. Um,
mm.
let's we spoke about, I spoke about that video clip before, TripAdvisor, but and you touched a bit on it there about you going home. How important was that moment for you? Obviously, grown man, you have your own ideas and everything, but when you touched down in Port Moresby, what was that feeling like for you to be on home base?
It was crazy. Like it was I don't even know how to like it's so hard to do the experience justice because there had been like so many years gone by, like since I was basically 1 years old, and then I went back 2019, I don't know, 20 something years old. So it's been more than 20 years, and I had so many fears and so many assumptions around like what my family thought of me, what they had been told about, the other side of the family, what do they know about the divorce, and like all these different sort of questions floating around my head. And so the first time I actually went back, I only went back for a week because I was just like super uncertain as to how it would actually go.
Mm.
And then it went so well, and it was just like it was like it felt like a funeral and a wedding at the same time. Like and it's a weird way to put it, but like that's the best way I can explain it. It felt like a funeral and a wedding. It was bittersweet. It was like the best celebration of uniting again. But then the morning of like there's been so many years that we've missed out on each other. And especially
Mm.
for me, I felt and it's no one's real fault, but like I felt robbed of all these family connections that could have built me up as I was developing from like a kid to a man, could have
Mm.
helped along the way and so many different ways, just from an identity standpoint, from like a worldview standpoint, understanding who I am, and like to be void of that for so long and to miss out on that and then go back, see it, taste it, feel it, touch it, and then be like, damn, that's what I missed out on all this time. It was really, and that was kind of that where I'm getting with like the calling it a funeral was it was like this this understanding of loss in a way. Yeah.
So we had Claire on, and she spoke about, yeah, she was born and raised in northern New South Wales. Had her father was Papua New Guinean. She didn't know too much about her heritage, and she really wanted to find out, where her family was from. She's actually from a village not too far from my village in Karuku.
Mhm.
So she actually went back and she had all the same things you just spoke about then, all those feelings of shit, how my family gonna think of me when I rock up? Are they gonna think I'm this, white girl just, rocking up here? But honestly, when she touched down in Port Moresby, she had this overwhelming experience which she couldn't even put in words. And everyone, all her family that came to see her, it was literally how you said it, a funeral and a wedding all in one.
Yeah. Oh man, it's beautiful. I think there's and I haven't experienced every culture in the world, so I'm speaking from the ones that I have. But I think Papua New Guineans are so connected, like just know how to like really feel feelings
Mm.
and express those feelings and very high on physical touch, and so that yeah, that connectedness is like that is the word for it. It's just like it is overwhelming, and it's like it's special. It is very special.
Oh, it's so special. And me and the boys, we always talk about it. There's some sort of there's like a sixth sense, especially when you're overseas. Like when I'm walking around here in Brisbane, and for some reason, even if I haven't seen like a PNG person down the road or something, I quickly look and they look as well. And it's like, bro, it's like
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like we both just locked eyes at the same time. And I
yeah,
don't know why, but I know why, because you're Papua New Guinean, I'm Papua New Guinean, and we're just looking at each other now. So, you
yeah,
go over and say hello and, you shake hands and do all of that. But there's some sort of sixth sense, like you said,
yeah.
it's
No, it's
special.
true. It's special. It's different. It's different.
Yeah, it's so good. But look, let's go back to your music there, and I had a question here. For those people that haven't heard you, don't know much about you, how would you explain your music, sort of in simple terms for people that haven't heard you before?
It's like, gosh, it's like if maybe if J. Cole and Kendrick sung a little bit more sometimes. That I don't know. Um, and then yeah, because I grew up in church too, there's a gospel influence to it.
Hmm.
And then I enjoy pop songs. I had a little bit of a heavy metal phase that I went through, or that hasn't quite found its way into my sound. But yeah, there's just it's just a mixing pot of like everything I grew up in and around, and then the music I enjoy, which is like I guess probably conscious rap first and foremost, and then a bunch of fun stuff kind
Hmm.
of around the edges. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I like that. And I think a big thing for me just, and I spoke about it before when I saw TripAdvisor back in uni, but I think, to be honest, I called the guys before and I was like, all right, we got Vallé on this hour, he's keen boys, and they were all like, oh, they're all hyping up. Yeah, we're all hyping up. So they were like, bro, make sure you ask him, about his production, because when we discussed it, we were like, we feel like your production is unreal. It's on another level. Like the storytelling, you're definitely leading, I would say, our people in that space. I personally haven't seen anyone from Papua New Guinea produce or come up with the type of production or videos that you have done. It's literally, on another level. So I just want to ask you, like, man, there must be so much planning, so much thought,
Hmm.
so much time that goes into these video clips, because from the outside in, not only as fans but like as just a person who likes watching video clips, these things are amazing. They're thought provoking. So how would you sort of explain what goes into the production of these video clips?
Oh, boy, Richard, that's a really hard question, and I don't because it's such a hard question. I'm like gonna risk sounding boring. I think if I can say like one thing, and then I'll branch off from there, is
Mm,
like early on, before I released my first single, "Love Me" in 2018, I made a real conscious decision to be like, this is an investment, and it's gonna require all of me, and it's gonna require um like especially my financial investment. And I think as things for many people, like because a lot of the creative pursuits are hard to turn into incomes quickly,
Mm.
there's this tendency to like um just get by however you can, and that is totally reasonable and understandable. But there is a line, right, where it's like, or not a line, or a balance or a scale maybe, where at some point, like it's gonna require an uncomfortable amount of sacrifice for you. This is what I believe anyway, and like
Mm.
everyone can believe whatever they want to, which is totally fine. But I believed and I decided I was like, I have to like properly invest in, and that mean what that looks like is like things that are above and beyond me, I'm gonna get a second opinion on. If I feel like maybe I missed something, I'll go back and I'll do it again. And like, man, even like for this recent video, and this is, I don't know, my 10th, 11th, or 12th music video I've done, and I've spent hours and thousands on every single one of them. And even this one, I was like, I got to the end, uh, and I was like, it's not quite there. Like we need to regrade it. And so I got another dude to grade it again. And I'm so glad that I did because I could sleep at night. Like, and
Yeah.
that's just like it's it's one thing to like impress other people and do great by like, the outside eyes. But I think like I had a standard that I established for myself first and foremost, and I really wanted to like, I would feel uncomfortable if I shorted the process a little bit. And so yeah, I lost out on a little bit of money and went over budget, but like at least I could say, with my hand on my heart, like I did all I could do for that thing in that moment.
Mm.
And I just, yeah, early on I decided to sort of commit to this philosophy of like when I'm creating something and I'm invested in it and I believe in it, um, I'll, make adequate sacrifice time and time again, even when it feels like the reward is not coming or the reward is delayed or whatever the case may be. It's yeah, trying to like live and die by the process every single time. I think is like the best thing that I can sort of summarize. Like yeah, the quality and the extent I go to on production level and the audio side and the visual side is like just really committing to the details and um investing. Yeah, yeah. Because I'm honestly, I remember, and there's some people it's like you might not have the means to do so, but then also it's like, okay, well, what can you give up so that you can save, so you can take that money that you saved and then put it, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
and if you're unable to do that, then it's like, is that an indication that like this is not the right thing for you? You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
if you want it that bad, then you would actually give up something in order to obtain this other thing. So it's, I don't know, that's how I see it.
Yeah. It comes to the question is, do you really love it, or you're just doing it for just for other things? And I think, you spoke about it perfectly there. Like, you really love this thing and you're perfecting it. You're a perfectionist, I guess, in the sense that as soon as you got to the end of that video clip, you could tell that it wasn't right, and it had to be right for you to, like you said, sleep well at night. And that's, I guess that's like some of the things we do on the podcast as well. It correlates, sometimes if we're not happy with an episode, or you say something here, then we're not going to put it up because we understand our mission and we know our goals, who we want to be portrayed as the uncles. And our mission is to, you know share positive stories around PNG, but also to educate the young people. And if we do something that doesn't align with that, then we're not gonna share it with our followers. So
What you said, yeah, what you said is so key about understanding your mission. Like, and I think you can almost start there and work backwards, right? It's like you know what it is that you're trying to do, and then so if the thing doesn't live up to that or support that or reinforce that, then it's like,
yeah,
maybe not. Yeah,
yeah, yeah. It's
yeah.
a big thing, but I think a lot of people can relate to it, especially those people that are on this path of trying to better themselves and do well in their sort of spaces, which is what you're doing. But the great thing about it is that we can see it. We can see all the hard work that's going into all these video clips, your music, and it's just it's literally so amazing to see. So, bro, just keep killing it, really, because
Appreciate it, bro. Thank you.
you're definitely doing wonders, putting our people on the map.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I really do appreciate it. And like I think I believe wholeheartedly we have Papua New Guineans have so much to offer individually as a community and as a nation, and it's like any chance we can um present our excellence, like you know what I mean? Because
Yeah,
I mean, if most of us are aware of like the global reputation in the bad side that we have, and I'm like, I just want to do whatever I can to ne not even negate that, but just like be like, oh, but have you seen this?
yeah,
Have you seen these guys? Oh, but do you know? Oh, but how about you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it's like I'm not gonna go back and forth on the violent stats and the. I'm just like but what about this? You
yep,
know? So yeah.
yeah.
Anyway,
And would you say that's a big part of what inspires your music?
100%.
Yeah,
And it's like it's very. I try be organic. Like a lot of my songwriting comes out of an experience that I have or a perspective that I have in a moment, and the moment has to be compelling enough to get me to write a song. And then if the song is compelling, then I'll like produce it and then turn it into like a product and then, so on and so forth. Um, and yeah, since I've gone back and connected with my family and then basically reunited my divorced family from my Papua New Guinean side and my Kiwi British side, like now there's just so much of those experiences from that journey to like draw upon um for songwriting.
yeah,
But I try to do it in a way that's um not forced, if that makes sense.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It does, it
Yeah.
does. In a way that it's natural to you. Yeah,
In a way that's nat it feels natural to me. 100%.
yeah.
100%. Yeah.
The one of the other uncles, C10, he's also a musician as well. He's done a few different songs, and he's very passionate about it. He's got some hidden songs in the vault that we're like, bro, you need to like do something with these because we know he's a good musician, but the bro's got he's got some hidden gems there. So,
What's prevented him from putting them out?
bro, that's we keep asking him this
I
question.
gotta ask him that question.
we
Direct
we
that question to him.
Yeah, we keep asking him this question. I think, he's got a little one now and he's got a full-time job working,
Mm,
but he's building. So I think something's coming really soon. He's seeing the progress that is happening on the uncles, and we're all sort of getting into how to market yourself, how to market a brand, and how to build a following and a community. So he's seen that now, and basically the ball's in his court. Whether he wants to
mm.
release the music or not, it's up to him. But he's seeing the uncles do its thing.
Cool. Okay, so
Yes,
he that's given him a little bit of like a jiggle.
a fire inside.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Nice.
it's lit him up a bit. But when we were talking before, he said he wanted to ask you this question because as a musician, he said only musicians would probably, get asked this question. But he said, when you're in the studio, uh,
Mm.
when you're in front of the mic, do you close your eyes and sing, or are you open-eyed singer?
Oh man, it depends if I know my lines well enough.
That's a great question. That's a good point.
If I don't know my lines well enough, another thing that I don't sit on a song for like too long before recording it, and the reason why,
Ooh, that's good.
yeah, the reason why is so that question answers the other question. Usually, I don't know my lines well enough because I've just written it and I'm trying to record it as close to the time that I wrote it because when I
Mm,
write, there's a like a cadence or a verbiage or like a way I'm delivering it in my head. And if I don't get to a microphone quick enough, I feel like I'm gonna lose that. And so if I can't, then I'll do a voice memo and then I'll try and like get back in that space. But I've always found the best thing for me is like as soon as I write, bang, like just get that out. And often what I've done, like I got a song called Swing Low that did pretty well, like really well,
mm.
at least for my standards. And Swing Low, I'm literally sick in my vocal recording. Like I've got the flu, and I recorded it. I think I recorded it during lockdown, and I just kept those vocal takes. I recorded it in my bedroom, and
Wow.
I like paid. I paid to get a pro mixing engineer to mix it, and then a different engineer to master it. To like it sounds great and polished, but the actual vocal takes are like on my mic at home in my bedroom. And it's just because I fell in love with like the delivery. Like in that moment, it was so close. I literally just wrote it and then I just held the mic in my hand. And then I was like, even though there's some like imperfections in it, it felt true to that moment. So I'm like, I got to wrap that up. And so anyway, to answer the song, answer the bro's question, it's definitely probably eyes open because I'm most of the time I'm thinking
Yeah.
my lyrics still. Yeah.
Yeah. Nah, that's perfect because you answered his other question because he was like, usually, when you get a thought or um, you know, what sort of inspires you to write the music, you answered that straight away with, quickly recording it or writing it down because yeah, he was really interested to know that. Um,
Yeah,
but
it's like an itch and an urge, and you just got to get in and like get it out. And often, if you don't, like it can die, and you can completely forget it,
mm,
and it's gone, and it's just a wasted moment. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, that's so it's very, very relatable because even with like sometimes when I'm just sitting at home and I have a thought, of who should we interview on the uncles, I'm like, damn, oh shit, I need to like I'll message that person straight away or I'll write it down quickly because otherwise if you leave it for too long you're gonna forget it and you won't do it. So
And in this day and age too, like it could never be more crucial because
yeah.
the amount of information that flies around in our domes, like it's just, bro, it's too much. Like notifications and to-do lists and calendars, it's like great. It's chaos. And so, yeah, I totally get that. You just got to act quickly, otherwise it goes.
Yeah. Gotta get it
Yeah.
down on paper, or else it's gone.
Oh,
Um, but yeah, you recently released a new single, "Hold Me."
mm,
Well, tell us about that song. Tell us about the production of the video clip. As I mentioned before, amazing. I think sort of like in a art gallery.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
wow. Like, tell us about that song.
So the song was written in Papua New Guinea's last election cycle, and violence broke out as it always
Mm,
does around election time. And I was just cut up. Like I was just heartbroken. I was sad. I was angry. I was devastated. I felt like the weight of the injustice, and I felt like and it's like frustrated that it's always the same kind of thing, the corruption, the bribery, um, and I was just I had a whole folder of like beats and sounds that I could write to, and so I think I just opened one up and started writing, and then wrote the song, and then I was really happy with the song and like the arrangement, and then we kind of flipped the production, Struan flipped the production, and then I was like, oh man, I love this, and then submitted it for NZ On Air funding, got funding, so I was like, all right, gangster, I can really go in and make a video, like I can go for it.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, when the as we were filming the music video for it, I was kind of like, man, I don't want to just put this out like I put other songs out. And at the same time, I was kind of arriving at this fork in the road where, with music and like the way music is distributed nowadays, I was kind of becoming numb to it as a fan, like as a listener. First and foremost, I was realizing that I was no longer engaged with like fresh new music in a way um, that I used to.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
and it was I felt it was due to like the fast-paced nature of everything, the way that
Mm.
everything's short form, the way that the supply is just huge, so you can't even be across everything because there's
Yeah.
like 10 million artists, and there's like thousands and thousands of songs getting uploaded every single day, and it's like it's just it literally is too much. And so
Yeah.
kind of like checking out. And I was like, man, I don't want my next song, in this case, Hold Me, to be a victim of like the monotonous noise and the sort of numbness that it feels like surrounds music at this current point in time. Like even if something's popping, like it's popping for a moment, and then and then it's like, and then what? And it's
Yeah.
like, what does it mean? You know, like, and it's just like, I was like, oh man, this song's too special and too important, and I've invested too much in it to just go about it the same way. And then this art gallery had reached out to me, and we had started talking, and I said to them, look, I want to do something. I'm not sure what it is because I've never done this before.
Mm.
But like, is there an opportunity for me to do something in the space? And they were like, yeah, definitely. And so we actually locked in the time, and then they graciously pushed it back because I felt like I was rushing what I was doing, and I hadn't figured out how I wanted to deliver the material. But the art exhibition was basically a deconstructed version of the single release in physical form. So it was kind of like
Oh,
into an old CD store and being situated in the environment like that the music's supposed to create. And so like you're surrounded by all the visual material that accompanies a release. I painted like a whole wall in the lyrics, and you could like visit the lyric wall and put on headphones and actually like be in the song and then track the lyrics while you were listening to the song. And then we did like a different director's cut of the music video where we took out all the performance scenes and then just left in kind of the more cinematic parts, all the
mm.
black and white shots,
Yeah.
um, because that in and of itself like really told the story and about violence and bribery and how kind of like the social political system works in Papua New Guinea. And we put that in we built a little cinema in the art gallery,
Yeah.
and the cinema was like created by this cocoon of black, yellow, and red for our flags, like in our colors, and this
Mm.
nice like fabric that flowed down from the ceiling, and you could go sit in beanbags and like watch the film. And I wanted to give that to people before the song came out online. So it was
Yeah.
like
Okay.
my way of telling people I still value the tangible, and I still want people to slow down when they consume music. And that was kind of the message behind it. And it was a really satisfying process. Like I didn't promote it heaps because I intentionally wanted to see like who found it and who was connected to the art galleries community that found it. And yeah, it was a really cool night, and it kind of like opened my eyes to like different things I can do creatively down the
Yeah.
line, with different spaces and stuff. Like it's just because people respond differently to material presented in that way. And I
Mm.
think like the best word I can use is numb. With like anything that's on a phone and that's quick, it just feels so like it, easy come, easy go, and it's like empty, if that makes sense. So
Yeah.
anyway, sorry for being boring. That was a really long.
No, no, that was a great question. You gave us, sorry, great answer that you gave us exclusive insight into your video clip and how, you know, it all came together. Because just looking from outside in, like even when I was watching the video and trying to understand it myself, it was really sort of thought provoking, like the boy at the start with the man in the suit, and then paper, scissors, rock, and even just watching that, I'm like, oh, okay, why are they doing paper, scissors, rock? And then now hearing you say that, you know, about corruption, bribery, social, political issues, it's all making sense. And then you go into the museum and the amazing art of our people and using the exhibition as a a maze or a tunnel to tell the story. It's yeah like it's amazing that you shared that with us. And even I was looking at some of the comments, like you had some artists comment on it, like Rugger who's up and comer now in PNG, and Sprigga Mech, who's been one of the leading rappers back home now for a while. And
Yeah,
they all loved it. Like how good is that for you to see PNG artists just support you and love the video?
yeah, it's huge, and like I I don't have anything to show for it at this point in time in terms of my connections with all those guys, but I've always been like open door, and I always want to work with everyone as long as it's like appropriate and it feels right. Like
Mm,
yeah, so yeah, Iraga CI I've been talking to, and we've been trying to like make some stuff happen, and I'm always stoked to see what I create um connect with those guys and those girls. Like there's been some awesome singers that have like found my music there that I've thought they were amazing, and I don't know, I think sometimes maybe I give the I'm busy impression, but I'm always like I always want those guys to know that if there's any way I can help and um like sharpen, like there's the saying iron sharpens iron. Like
that's it.
that's what I want
Yes.
to that's what I want to participate in that way. So
Yeah.
it's always cool, and we need to help lift each other up. And
Oh, definitely, big time. I mean, that's what we're all about, and I guess that's why we were jumped at the opportunity to have a chat to you, because yeah, we've been fans for a while, and it's we want to share this story with our followers, because I know some of our followers too are big fans of yours. But bro, what's we're getting to the end of it now. My second last question, what's next for you coming forward? Do you have your sights set on anything in the near future?
man, I've been dying to get back to Moresby and do a show there. And like the every time I go, I bump into people on the street that are just like, "Yo, you need to come and do a show." I'm like, I know. I was like, I
Yeah.
feel it. I need to do that. I agree with you. So I'm really trying. Like, I would love to for that to happen this year. Like, there's a huge goal. Like, if it doesn't happen, then so be it. Next year it'll be. But I really want to do that this year. Um, I'm supposed to have an EP out at some point this year, towards the end.
Mm,
If not an EP, there'll be a bunch of singles coming out. Like I've got heaps of collaborations that I've been a part of that I'm sure are due to come out within this year, and then a bunch of my own stuff. So like there's heaps on the horizon, but yeah, a big priority for me has been trying to get this live show and Port Moresby going because bro, it'd just be so
oh man, wow.
yeah, I just like when I don't you probably know like you visualize something happening and you know it's supposed to happen, and now it's just like filling in the in between where you are now and that thing happening, and
Yeah.
that's how I feel about that place. I want to, bro, I just want to perform there so bad.
Oh, it would be amazing, honestly, if you went back home, performed. Geez,
Oh, well,
we
I'm literally dying. Like I've
yeah.
never wanted to perform anywhere this much, like that much. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to keep an eye out because if you do go, then either one of us will have to make a trip
Let's go.
yeah just to witness it. But yeah, no, that's special, bro. Last question. We won't keep you for too long, but we always ask this question to our guests. Obviously, a big part of us having chats with people that are doing well in different spaces is that we want to give back to the next generation. Maybe there's a young Vallé out there who's gonna go through the same thing as you. He's gonna
Mm.
be, born in Port Moresby, then he might grow up in New Zealand, he might grow up in Australia, he might grow up in UK and go through the same things you're going through. So what's I guess some advice that you would give to, someone like that?
I might steal something from you that you said earlier. It stuck with me when you said like understanding your mission. Like I think that's really helpful. And that could sound vague and like, but for me, what that means is like whether or not you're someone who believes in God, like figuring out what your purpose is here, uh, and 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 I often tend to believe that like your gifts or your gifts and your character and the way you see the world are like evidence of that and use that to kind of steer you in where you should, allocate your resource and your resources, your time, your money, your energy, everything you have to give that thing is included in that. And yeah, so I think, yeah, figuring out your purpose and your mission and what you're here for is, I mean, that's everything. I think that everyone wants to know that, right? Um and then just lock in, bro. Just lock in.
Yeah.
Like, honestly,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, we say that all the time, lock in, but like, yeah, truly, truly lock. And then it's just beautiful, like, and it's like the journey, and then falling in love with the process and whether the outcome looks how you thought it would or not. It's like you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. And for me, like I feel fully confident that I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing.
Mm.
Um, whether or not my bank account reflects that every single year or not. That, that like I don't feel like you can always look to that as an indicator. I mean, this we tend to do that, but I don't know if that's the best like marker of whether you're on point or not. So you're figuring out your purpose, knowing your mission.
Love that, bro. And yeah, just want to say a big thank you from the uncles, obviously, for hopping on and sharing with us, a bit about yourself and your life and what you've been through and what you've done and where you're going next. Yeah, bro. Thank you so much for coming on to the uncles.
Well, pleasure. Thank you so much for having me. And I need to get some uncle's merchandise because I hang a lot of like Papua New Guinea stuff up in my studio, and so I'd love to add some of the uncle's collection in here.
Yes, yes. Don't worry. We'll send it to you. Don't worry. Don't worry. We'll get you some.
Thank you. I
uh,
appreciate it.
thanks, bro. Catch.
Catch.